Welcome to the Vernon Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Vernon, joined by my guy, G-Sportz. G, what's up, man? How you doing?
It's Friday, man. It's Friday.
Gotta celebrate. Gotta celebrate. We made it this far. Got through the week, got through the grind, get to kick your feet up a couple days. Hopefully no big news breaks while we're off, because I feel like we got just about every single topic stirred up. We got LSU win total, trying to project their season. Apparently Nick Saban wants to get back into the college football world. Then we might not even be done with playoff expansion, G. It's like every time I turn my head, there's a new layer, a new addition, a new change to college football. So it'll be interesting to break all that down. Let's keep the main thing though. LSU. How are they going to be able to, in 2025, turn heads, shock the world, get into the playoff, quiet the wolves, whatever you want to say, G? Vegas is projecting them at 8.5 wins. My first question for you, and I know this is an obvious question, but hey, I just got to ask it. Is that enough to keep this era going at LSU? 9 wins. What does that kind of do to Scott Woodward in this whole entire environment, you think?
Well, if they expanded the college football playoff to where 4 SEC teams could get in, 9 wins probably would be good enough for Brian Kelly to be able to keep his job and for LSU fans not to, get in a disarray about where the program is at right now. So just looking at their schedule, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's gonna be tough, but I do think they could get 10 wins. The only 2 games I got on that schedule that I really feel like it's gonna be tough for them to win is Florida, which is the third game of the season. DJ Lagway coming back. I think he's gonna be a Heisman Trophy candidate. This is just it's gonna be year 3 or year 4 for Billy Napier.
4, I think. I think he came in with BK at the same time.
Yep, you're right. You're right. Year 4. And this is the best quarterback he has had since he's been at Florida. I think that roster that he has coming back, he didn't lose too many guys to the transfer portal. So he had a ton of guys with experience. I just think that's gonna be a tough game for LSU to win in week 3. Not saying they can't win the game, but I think that's a game that they could possibly slip up and lose. And then Oklahoma on the road at the end of the season is going to be extremely tough.
Yep.
So those 2 games are the games I think that they could possibly lose. So if that's the only 2 games they slip up on, they'll have 10 wins and they should be probably a top 4 seed, top 5 seed going into that playoff.
And I feel like that Florida game's going unnoticed. It's early in the season. They're gonna have to strike when the iron's hot for everything to go perfect, because you got that Clemson test. Week 2, you get a little bit of a break. I believe it's LA Tech. Then you're going to up the ante SEC play instantly. My tough games, I think Clemson will be one of them. It's on the road. It's not necessarily a schematic imbalance, but I am worried to watch that offensive line instantly get like tested against Clemson's D line. I think that's going to be a crazy
Yeah.
miss. I ain't gonna lie, G. I'm gonna throw in South Carolina in there too.
Yes, the only reason I ain't say South Carolina because they're playing them in Death Valley, and South Carolina is not the same on the road as they are down there in Columbia.
Hey, that environment was rocking. They had college game day over there. It was 11 a.m. kickoff. It didn't matter. Last year, they brought the energy. So that's going to be a big factor. And then the Lenore Sellers X factor, too. Same thing with DJ Lagway. That is LSU's kryptonite in the recent memory for the defense. I feel like that could be one of your biggest tests, at least quarterback skill-wise. And then, that Oklahoma game. I think people aren't giving that new quarterback, John Mateer, enough credit. That could be one of those guys under center that just instantly grows their situation.
He's going to be way, way better than what Jackson Arnold looked last year. I can promise you that. And you could tell that Brent Venables is starting to build a culture over there. I know people might not feel like that because they haven't been, relevant when you talk about the playoffs. But you could see that program going in the right direction since Lincoln Riley has left. And he had a good recruiting class coming in last year and had a good recruiting class coming in for this year. So that Oklahoma game on the road down there in Norman going to be tough, dog. It's going to be tough. But I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
If LSU lose that week 1 game at Clemson, it could be a downward spiral the rest of the season.
What do you think the win total would be? Like, let's say live win total. What would you change it to if LSU starts 0-1? Like, we're at 9 right now, preseason.
Yeah, if they
LSU underdog going into Clemson too, so Vegas is already kind of like backing off a little bit.
Yeah, bro. If they lose week 1 at Clemson, they could possibly it possibly could go down to like 7 wins because it's gonna be in the psyche of the players and the coaches. You're gonna be hearing this for weeks and weeks at a time that why they can't win this week 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts to play on your mental a little bit. And so I think that's gonna be the most important game of the season. Uh, and it's gonna be tough, bro. But I do think they're gonna get it done this year. I do think they're gonna get it done. I think they tired of hearing that they can't get the win on in week 1. And I just feel like they figure it out this year and get it done.
Hopefully so, because you got a solid chance at it, I think, for sure. Fast start, though, that's going to be the most pivotal factor of it all.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this interesting news break yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw this, but apparently,
I like that picture of Saban right there.
hey, right? Celebrating, man. We got to show him in his real, in his
You rarely see Saban looking like that.
He might be, in some people's eyes, in my eyes a little bit, the grandfather of this recruiting strategy, right? Alabama's dynasty has been on fire last 10, 15 years. I believe they have the most collective salaries in terms of like salary worth in the NFL. I believe they have either, if they don't have the most picks, they're in the top 3 for sure. This position, from what I've gathered, is going to try to fix some of these NIL issues, try to help push this revenue sharing bill through the House and amend all the changes that are going to have to be made. But, the question that I want to ask, everybody's wanted a commissioner for college football. This is probably the closest you get. What do you think his role will entail? And do you think that this is something that will benefit college football and help change the unpredictableness of NIL?
I hope this all goes down the way it's saying it's going to go down, because Nick Saban is the perfect guy to bring structure to this NIL and this transfer portal chaos. He understands, the landscape of it all. He's been in the game for over 30-some years, and he stayed in it for a couple years before he got out. So it's not like he's foreign to this NIL and transfer portal. I think he's gonna come up with a great way to make all this come together, where you don't make this the wild wild west no more with this transfer portal. It's gonna have some type of rules and regulations in place, and it's gonna make things get back to how college football is supposed to be, right? He talked about it. He was big on saying that the Alabamas and the Michigans and the LSUs and these teams that have all this rich history, it doesn't mean anything anymore, because all the players care about is how much you're gonna pay me. That emblem on the helmet doesn't mean shit to any of these people that's coming into college football. And we got to get back to that. And I think putting this in place with Nick Saban, he's gonna come up with a great way to make sure that people just not out here just doing whatever the hell they want. And that's what's been going on since all this been created. I think him and Donald Trump, getting together and figuring out a plan is going to benefit a lot of not only the universities and the coaches, but it's going to benefit the players too. All right. Whatever plan he comes up with, I'm sure it's going to be something that's going to be good for college football. And I can't see too many good things that Trump has did since he's been in office, but this is one good thing I gotta say that I appreciate that he's doing, getting Saban involved to put some structure with this NIL and the portal.
Because I feel like this has been getting called for years, and then you've got all walks of life calling for it. You got fans, you've got athletes, well, in a way, and then you've also got the coaching staff in its entirety. So to potentially prevent the fallout that everybody's worried about, this seems like your smartest plan of action. There's a lot of changes in college football every single week, but I feel like the most impactful ones are going to be this. Like you said, people aren't even looking at the whole recruiting environment the same. Even like, let's say, media coverage. We're sitting here talking about commitments in March, and me and you both know we got to wait until signing day, early signing day. We got 4-5 more months under our belt to sweat.
We got to wait to see who's going to come up with that blank check.
Exactly. Like there's a lot of elements into this that are going to not necessarily change it for the worse. I'm not going to go out and say that, but it's going to change it enough to where it's going to be an entirely different sport. There's more changes on the horizon, G. College football playoff. I heard this morning. Now, this one's also, it's an early report. They're going to probably have to work out these kinks, but a 16-team college football playoff is supposedly in the works, being talked about. The way that it would be laid out, the bids would be 4 to the SEC, 4 to the Big 10, 2 to the ACC, 2 to the Big 12, 1 G6 bid, and 3 at large. Give me your initial reaction to this, because it's looking like there's a real mixed opinion. I've even seen like a dramatic take by a fan saying, bring back the BCS, number 1 versus number 2. I find that insane because, like, look, I don't know if 16 teams is the way to go, but people say that now with the 1 and 2, with the BCS, with all this, but then we're going to go back to complaining about everybody not getting a shot. How do you find that balance, giving everybody a shot and then also not putting too many people in?
Me personally, I love the expansion to the 16 team playoff. Think about it, bro. The SEC, year in and year out, is the best conference in the country. These dudes beat up on each other, and you might end the year with 3, sometimes 4 losses because you're playing against so many good teams week in and week out in that conference. Now they're going to be able to get 4 teams into the playoff. I like it. Now, if you go and coach in the SEC, you ain't got to worry about if I lose 1 game or 2 games, and I ain't gonna have a shot to get to the playoffs. Now I'm still gonna have an opportunity, and now you give your team more morale the rest of the season. I think that's gonna cut down on kids. When they start getting ready for the draft, they feel like they ain't got a chance to get to the playoffs, and they start opting out. That's gonna eliminate a lot of that. I think this is a good idea to expand this playoff. And then, I love to see these Cinderella teams have an opportunity to upset some people. Even though SMU didn't get it done last year, I was rooting for them. But I can't wait to see, University of Houston get into the 16-team playoff and upset somebody and try to make a run. Just like March Madness. And that's what we want to see, man. I think it's going to be great for college football, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to be added if you expand to the 16-team format. Like you were saying at the beginning of the show, teams that are putting a lot of pressure on coaches for success are going to have a little bit more slack, a little bit more wiggle room. You're not going to be able to get boosted out. And then going back towards that fan that was talking about number 1 versus number 2, bruh, that is the epitome of no room for error. 1 game, G, and you're probably knocked out of that thing. 1 loss. So I feel like that the making it smaller over making it bigger would be worse. So making it bigger, I think that there is some value in that. I do want to ask you this hypothetical question. Now, let's say the NCAA denies this. The SEC doesn't get a guaranteed amount. Do you think you could see these 2 conferences, SEC and Big Ten, grow kind of like unhappy, a little disgruntled? Maybe they try to push to not necessarily do their own league, but like how much leverage can these conferences put on the NCAA now that they have damn near every school that is a top perennial brand?
I think they could put a lot of pressure on the NCAA because the SEC generates the most money, and it's not even close, bro. With the TV contracts and the sponsorships and the ticket sale, man, I mean, it's an enormous amount of money that this conference is generating every year, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So the NCAA better be careful on how they go about this with the SEC, because they could very well get ready to go start their own league and do their own thing, and now the NCAA is going to miss out on a shitload of money.
I wonder how that would look, because I feel like people aren't focusing on that side of the fallout enough. But I think that is a realistic possibility if they don't put these teams in or these automatic bids in, because of exactly what you were saying. Teams like Ole Miss are on the fringe. And I feel like the later seeds don't get respected as much as they should. I mean, the defending national champs with a number 8 seed, Ohio State, ran through the gauntlet, earned their opportunity. So at this point, you really can't say that a 3rd or 4th seed in this conference would not deserve a spot. So I feel like it's got a lot of potential. Now, this gave me the opportunity to be able to kind of pick through and see who I feel are college football playoff sleepers. This year we got 12, but just with the idea of 16, more room, more names, got me thinking, G. I'm going to tell you who I think my sleepers are for this year and just in general these next few. South Carolina. I think a lot of people aren't high on them. I just told everybody why I think it's a tough game. I think Lenore Sellers is the X factor. Shane Beamer has been a hell of a coach in the transitional period that has been at Columbia. It's been pretty nice to watch. The thing that throws me off the most, G, is when you look at the conference championship odds in the SEC, South Carolina is ranked 8. Halfway down, mid-level team. They're calling them average. last year, 365 days ago, one game away from punching that ticket. You're not taking a million steps back. Sure, you lost some pieces, but I feel like if anything, the momentum is continuously getting stacked. South Carolina is somebody that I would keep my eye on because that is way too much of an underrating. Arizona State, I'm going to throw them in there. I know they made it last season. They won the Big 12. It's not going to be a sleeper in a sense, but everybody, I don't think that they're paying enough attention to them because you lose Scatterbo, you lose pieces that I feel like held a lot of weight. Scatterbo honestly carried them because that Texas game would have been way uglier if he didn't put them on their back at the end of that second half. But that's besides the point. I think that that's another one of those schools that not a lot of people are betting on. Lastly, I'm going to throw you a curveball with this one. Texas Tech. Here's why. That's the Big Ten favorite in my opinion right now. The Texas Tech transfer portal class that they just brought in, thanks to Patrick Mahomes, is phenomenal. They answered a lot of positions. I believe some people had them ranked number one. A lot of people are saying LSU's number one, and if you find other recruiting services that are ranking a different school ahead, it's going to be Texas Tech. It'll be the Red Raiders. They got Micah Hudson back. That could be another one of those schools that really ain't getting enough attention that could punch their ticket. Those are my three guys. I'll say out of all the big names, everybody's thinking Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, and rightfully so. Arizona State, South Carolina, and Texas Tech could be three names I think kind of get in there and shake some noise. Who are you feeling?
Originally, I was thinking that Tennessee was going to be a team that was going to have an opportunity to be a top 5 team in the country with Nico coming back. But obviously, he had different plans. And so I do think Tennessee's still going to be a good team, but I just don't know what Josh Heupel going to do at that quarterback position to get somebody ready by week 1 in September. It's going to be tough. So my second sleeper, man, is Florida. Call me biased all you want, but I ride with my guy, Billy Napier. I think in year 4, he gets it done and gets his team to that playoff, and he gets the opportunity to keep his job. I know Mr. Strickland, the AD, took a lot of flack for not firing Billy Napier after this year. But I thought you saw that Florida team get better and better as the year went on. You saw when DJ Lagway got his opportunity, he made the most of it, bro. I know he got injured, I think at the latter part of the season, but you see this dude has first round potential written all over him. And with the pieces they got coming back, the recruiting class he had coming in from last year and this year, I really believe that this Florida team gonna have an opportunity and will be in the playoffs, barring they don't have any major injuries. So that's my sleeper.
And DJ Lagway, I think he got hurt in the Georgia game, and it was like, I believe.
Yeah, if he don't get hurt against Georgia, Florida might win that game, bro.
I ain't gonna lie, I agree, because it seems like the way the momentum was stacking, that was like a buzzkill right there. Carson Beck had 2 picks by halftime. He was in a huge slump going forward. At that point, in the last 5 games, I think it was like 11 picks that he had, which is damn near 2.5 picks a game. Then you go in and beat LSU. I mean, I could see that going. That's another one of those teams that ain't getting enough credit. When I looked at the SEC odds and I saw South Carolina was 8, Florida was 9. They are like plus 3,300 to get into the SEC championship.
Also, so they gonna have Florida at number 9 starting off the season.
Well, not number 9 in the SEC, like for sure, odds wise, that's what I saw. When I looked at the odds to win the SEC championship, I counted them in order, and South Carolina was 8 at 1,600, and then Florida was 9 at 3,300. It was a crazy drop off after that. But it'll be interesting to watch it play out. G, let's talk about some playoff basketball. A lot of changes, a lot of interesting things. Biggest update that I could tell anybody: Wolves versus Warriors. Steph Curry ain't playing again until late as game 6. That could be the soonest he can come back. I feel like that. What are they in game 2? So that's another 3 more games. They could pretty much get eliminated.
Why this couldn't happen against the Rockets?
Bruh, tell me.
God damn.
Because I feel like, all I do is get a Mandela effect, or not even a Mandela effect. It's a Groundhog Day effect. I'm watching the TV and I'm like, man, is this 2018 or 19 or 20 or 21? Like, how the hell are the Rockets? What is it? 5 series that they are 0-5 against the Warriors? I don't even want to.
Why he couldn't get hurt in that game 7, bro?
You know what I want to say? I'm gonna be proud because I feel like the amount of clamps that we were putting on them, that defensive rotation we were throwing on them, might have weakened them a little bit. Might have threw him in a little bit of a tough spot. Anthony Edwards rolled his ankle last night too. He came down on.
But he came back though.
He did, bro. At halftime, they were wondering, is he coming back? Is he coming back, bro?
Put his cape on.
Bands. He was hitting the bands, running around. I'm like, yeah, ain't no question about it. So let's break it down. Eastern Conference first. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Celtics and Knicks, and I feel like this is a damn confusing series, G, because I was thinking Celtics pre-series before this has started. I would have picked Celtics. They're down 0-2, and it's pretty hard for me to believe that this is gonna be a comeback brewing. First two, as a tunnel setter, it's hard to be able to climb back from that deficit. You dug yourself a huge hole. And then the Knicks are insanely deep. If you look at their roster, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, still got Mitchell Robinson, and Cameron Payne, I think, is a very good role player. It's hard for me to go against depth. And I hate fading the defending champions. I hate fading people like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, yada, yada, yada. But it just don't feel like they can stack it together. What do you think about this series, Knicks and Celtics?
I don't think it's over. I know they're going back to Madison Square Garden, and everybody's saying that the Knicks gonna win this series. I truly believe the Celtics are a better team. And if you're really watching basketball, you really understand the game, you know that the Celtics are a better team. I mean, they lost game 1 in overtime, they lost game 2 by 1. And he was up 20 points in both of them games. So they could very well be up 2-0 right now. Now, with that being said, they gotta win game 3. You lose game 3, you might as well start beating the traffic, Celtics fans.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to Madison Square Garden on Saturday and get it done. The Celtics is too good, they're too experienced. The key is Porzingis and Jaylen Brown dealing with their injuries. I know that's been a fact in this series, and I think that they got to get at least 80% out of them. If they don't, now you got to hope that Al Horford at 38, 39 years old could give you 12 to 15 points. You're gonna have to whole Pritchard come off the bench and give you about 12. You're gonna have to get these points from some other places. And the Celtics average over what? I think 115 to close to 120 points a game this year. They was under 100 points last game. That just go to show you how much the scoring has been down because of the injuries with Porzingis and Jaylen Brown. But they out there trying to stick it out. I think they got to get a little more from Drew Holiday scoring wise. But I think they'll be all right, man. They missed a lot of wide open shots they normally make, bro. So I think they get it done and they win this series in 6.
Okay. Celtics got a lot of experience too. They've been doing this for a while. Even before they got the title, hosted Larry O'Brien, they were going deep with shit. Brian and the Cavs, like the ECF and the Eastern Conference, I think has been tipping towards the Celtics for a while. So they got the experience, and they remind me of the Nuggets. I ain't gonna lie. We'll break that game down after this. But Pacers, Cavs. This is the series that I think a lot of people are also impressed by. Cavs are one of those teams, I think, similar to Celtics. Offensive explosion. Mitchell's insane. Hard to kind of fade people like that. But here we go with this statistic that blows my mind every time I read it. I had to check it a million times. So, this year when the Pacers are down by 7 with 1:30 left in the game, they're 2-0. Every other team in that scenario in the last 2 decades, 20 years, are 1-384. 385 times a team has been in this situation. 1 time they have come out victorious. Pacers have been in this situation twice, undefeated in it. What the hell? I think this dude right, Halliburton, what the hell? Come on, bro. Putting the damn team on his back. He did the little Joves, Manu Ginobili, Selly, letting everybody know he's hanging them. I think he took the 3-pointer in the same damn spot that LeBron took it to eliminate them way back when. Nobody's thinking about the Pacers and Cavs, but I'm just saying the history here, the redemption, the basketball state, basketball city. I think everybody's getting hyped. Momentum is hard to stop. I am going to think Pacers punching their ticket to the finals, G. I'm riding the hype train. I'm riding the what the hell train, matter of fact.
This series has been tricky. Of course, I think that the Cavs was a team that I looked at coming into the playoff. They wasn't a true number 1 seed in my mind. Just watching them all year, like good team, got some talent. Donovan Mitchell's insane. I love Darius Garland. I love Mobley and Allen at the rim protecting and stuff like that. But I just felt like they was missing something. And to me, what they're missing is they're missing a player on that team that has true leadership qualities. I think Donovan Mitchell being your number 1 player and the person that everybody riding behind won't get you to the finals. I love Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a really, really good player. But if that's your best player on your team and that's who y'all depending on game in and game out in the playoffs to be able to get it done. I just don't. I think it's only so far you can go. I think Donovan Mitchell's shot selection is very, very questionable. I think he shoots the ball way more than Darius Garland. I think Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell's shot selection should be what. If Donovan Mitchell taking 15 to 17 shots a game, Darius Garland should be around the same. And it's not happening like that. And I just feel like Darius Garland, to me, uh could do a little more when it comes to playmaking than Donovan Mitchell. I feel like Donovan Mitchell's a one-trick pony in a sense. Like he's really looking to score that ball 99.9% of the time. And I just think in the playoffs, it's easy for teams to game plan for you when they know you one-track minded like that. And so uh I think they in some real trouble right now with the Pacers, especially with them getting ready to go on a roll. I don't feel the same way about this series like I do about the Celtics. Like I think the Celtics gonna come back and win that series. I don't think it's about the Cavs. I think the Pacers upset them and move on to the conference finals.
I agree. Yeah, it's going to be tough because once you get into that hole, like you said, you don't win game 3, you go down 3-0. It has never happened in history, a 3-0 comeback. We've seen 3-1.
Shout out to Halliburton, man. He been playing out his mind. Lord.
Yeah. Ain't nothing he can't do at this point. Ain't nothing.
What the hell?
Oh, well. What the hell? Come on, shout out. Wolves Warriors, G. This one's close to home. I think obviously Curry hurting is going to shake it up. You don't have the best shooter of all time, the best scorer on this team. Like you were talking about, we're having to find the points in other places. Yeah, the Warriors got some pieces. They got Jimmy Butler. They got Wiggins. Draymond Green ain't going to give you a lot, but it could be able to make it work. I think the underrated element in this is Steve Kerr, the championship mindset. They've been here a couple of times. They got the experience. But Anthony Edwards, dog, how you fade that? That's Michael Jordan Jr. Like every single time Ant gets on the screen, I feel like there's a 30 ball waiting to happen. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to jump the gun and say how I'm feeling. I'm gonna give you my picks for 2 series. I think that the Nuggets are gonna beat the Thunder. I'm gonna let you respond because that's a bold take. The Thunder are the most red hot team in the NBA. They scoring the ball in bunches. They got all the hype. I feel like Joker is the guy. I feel like it's hard to fade him. Same way I was kind of like nervous to fade the Celtics. They got a lot of experience. They got a lot of depth. But I'm thinking Nuggets get past. Nuggets and Wolves in the WCF. And here is the statistic of the day from me, your boy. Wolves and Nuggets head-to-head this year. Wolves are 4-0. So if Wolves and Nuggets go, I'm confident in the Wolves. And it sounds like I'm confident in a Wolves and Pacers finals. Now, in this situation, there's 2 new teams. I'd be happy either way it goes. It's going to be hard for me to fade the Timberwolves if they make it that far. Once again, depth makes me biased. It makes me get influence. Anthony Edwards, Rudy, shout out LSU boy, Julius Randle. And then you got, Nigel Alexander-Walker? I mean, you got pieces. Timberwolves are nice. The head coach is nice. I feel like that it's been a long time coming. Timberwolves have been like this close. Even back at the Jimmy Butler days, I feel like they were a hair away. So that's my entire take for the Western Conference and the finals. G, let me hear it. What you think? Wolves, Warriors, Nuggets, Thunder.
It's unfortunate that Steph got hurt, bro. I wanted to see this series, and I think it would have won 7 games. I really do. I would have loved to see the Anthony Edwards versus Steph and the whole chaos with Draymond and Anthony Edwards talking all that shit to each other. So, he's just not gonna have that with Steph not on the court. If the Warriors could mess around and win one more game to be able to get it to at least a 6-game series and possibly a 7-game, Steph will have an opportunity to come back. But if they don't win, we going into game 3.
Yeah, 3.
If they don't win game 3, and then game 4, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So they're gonna have to mess around and sneak one of these games in the next couple. But I got the Timberwolves moving on, bro. I just don't see them being able to overcome not having one of the best players of all time and the best shooter of all time. I just don't see it happening. I'm with you with the Nuggets and the Thunder. I believe in the Nuggets, bro. When Jamal Murray is healthy and him and Joker playing that 2-man game coming off them ball screens with Michael Porter Jr. in one corner, and then you got Aaron Gordon in that dunker spot, they just tough. And then you got Westbrook coming off the bench with that second unit, giving that spark. I just like the Nuggets, bro. I like their team championship pedigree. I just think OKC, they ain't gonna have enough to get it done unless Shea just gonna put on his cake and have an out of body experience, these next 4 to 5 games, I don't see it happening, bro. I think the Nuggets winning in 6.
So Nuggets, Wolves, and then you got Celtics and Pacers. Who you got going to the finals?
So I think this will be box office if this happens, right? I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it'll be box office, and I think it would have a lot of views. If the Celtics and the Timberwolves could get to the finals, bro, I think everybody in mind will be tuning in to watch that.
Who's guarding Ant? Jalen?
Probably so. Probably so. I think that would be a great matchup, but I just don't think the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. I don't see it.
Okay.
So I got the Celtics and the Nuggets in the finals, and I got the Nuggets. I got the Celtics repeating as champions.
Oh, coming back from the 2-0. All right. I think the Thunder have the best odds. Celtics are close, though. Celtics are definitely top 3. I wanted to ask you this question before we hop out. Nuggets fire their head coach, still able to have a chance. Why? What you think? What you think is it the talent? Is it the culture?
Yeah, veteran leadership, bro. Jamal Murray, Joker, Aaron Gordon, Westbrook, bro. They've been there before. They know what it takes. They know what they got to do. And when you got that kind of veteran leadership along with that talent, you're gonna have an opportunity, bro. So I just think that the Nuggets losing Jeff Malone wasn't a big deal like everybody made it to be.
Yeah. I was wondering how they would respond to something like that, but it seems like they're doing well.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to watch the rest of these NBA playoffs, G. I'm about to shack out. I got a final exam. It's piss and rain. I'm about to run through that last exam in college history, G. I feel old.
You got it done, man. You made it to the finish line, bro.
You're right. I'm glad I'm gonna have to go through it like this. Head first, knock through the little banner. All right. Well, we're gonna hop out of here. Back live on Monday. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. You know the drill. Hit that like button. Subscribe to both of our channels. I got all of our socials in the description. Wherever you go get your news, go follow us. We're gonna keep you covered, keep you updated, keep you informed. Appreciate your time, G. Y'all have a good weekend.